Let's say you're interviewing for a job and you're going to role play with a friend or whoever it is. They're not going to give you the tough love you need to hear. They don't have the context. And at work, you can ask a friend, they don't have the context. You can ask a manager, they're going to be too nice. It just seems insane to me that we're all walking around just YOLOing it. Just like, well, I hope I did okay. I hope I can't unsee the fact that everyone's just faking it in every meeting. And they're like, I'm good. That was perfect. I don't need any feedback.
Oh my
like,
gosh. Yes.
Kudos to you.
Yes.
Kudos to you if you don't need any feedback.
Yes. Welcome, folks, to another episode of the HiTech Podcast. This is your usual one of two hosts, William Illingworth, joined by my co-host, Joshua Swartz. It's been a minute, but we're very excited to today have a guest on the podcast. So if you're watching on YouTube, you've already seen Dan. But if you're listening, here is the introduction to Dan Wolchonok. How are you doing today, Dan?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Now, this is, of course, one of the many networking ninja moments that the podcast has experienced. I found Dan on LinkedIn when he commented on the very famous to the podcast, Michael Smith's Dad Designer account. Michael was talking about something, either an account that was going on, or maybe he was even just highlighting you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. And if Michael knows somebody, then I want to know him. So I just reached out, and here we are. We're ready to get into some things and learn a little bit about the future of work and working and learning about your work and whatever else we can learn about your product. But before we dive too deep into Work Coach, which I want to come back around to, Dan, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you come from? How did you get to where you are today?
Sure. So I'm Dan. I'm based out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I've been working in tech for about 20 years. Worked in management consulting, Microsoft. I got my MBA, started a company, worked at HubSpot, and then a startup that was recently acquired by Miro called Reforge.
Wow.
So I'm just a total builder. I love tinkering. I love building stuff. And most recently, I've just been obsessed with everything AI. So I'm super excited to talk about AI stuff today.
That's it.
You're totally alone. The entire world doesn't seem interested in it.
We may as well cut the episode. It's not even going to be worth it. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
does that mean, I've seen some entrepreneurial stuff in there, of course. You're you're business minded, you're getting stuff out there, you're buying, you're selling, but are you a developer specifically? Like, do you have a background in coding?
Yes. So I majored in computer science 20 years ago. And so I've always been building. I've always been interested in a little bit of everything. Cool. And so I think this is the era, this is the time that's perfect for somebody like me who is technical, knows how to build things pre-AI, but can use AI and all the other knowledge I have to do much more than I think a one-person business could have did in the past.
Yeah, Josh and I are tinkerers. I think we've both spent some time doing some basic coding and stuff, and I've developed a web extension or two for myself. But when I think about what I'm capable of doing, novice, no computer science background, I coded my MySpace page to have a black and green, and put a song in the background when I was 15. That's the extent of my, development.
Meanwhile, Dan's internally thinking that's not coding. You're just HTML MySpace.
No way. You kidding me? No, I love that stuff.
But that's what introduced me to it.
I mean, if someone's geeking out with that stuff, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
But if I can take those skills and accomplish something with AI, I just I'm so excited for folks like yourself who have the skills to go beyond that. And I think we're looking at a world where we're going to be able to create tools that weren't previously possible because we have so much more computing power behind the skill. But that's really awesome. Thank you for a little bit of that background there. Before, we're gonna have a couple of different questions we got prepared, but if we go off the rails, we go off the rails. First one up, though, this is what we connected on initially. You're building this tool called Work Coach. It's out there. The website URL, love this, is just work.coach for anybody listening who wants to go check it out. But what is Work Coach? What are you trying to accomplish with this platform?
Sure. So Work Coach is an AI that observes you in meetings with the sole focus of helping you understand how you did, what you can improve on, and then helping you practice so you can get better. So that works for a job interview, that works for onboarding if you're in a new role, that works if you're running a team meeting, if you're trying to influence people throughout your company, whatever it is. It's really helpful to have someone independent on your side who has a lot of context to give you unfiltered information about how you can who can give you unfiltered information about how you can be better.
That's wild. So it's a desktop app. It's a plugin. Like, it's watching any meeting call you take.
So, good question. It is an app that runs on your machine, and it sends you a notification when it detects that a meeting has started.
Okay.
So it looks
Okay.
to see when your microphone becomes active. And so, like when you join a Zoom call or when you join Google Meet or Teams or Slack or whatever it is, it'll notice that Slack has started using the microphone. And so you're probably in a huddle, you're in a Teams meeting, and it'll prompt you to say, hey, do you want me to observe you in this meeting?
Interesting.
And once you click yes, it'll start recording and transcribing the meeting. You should always get consent. There's various rules about recording people, but a great way to do it is just to say, do you mind if I record this meeting just for my own personal purposes? I just want to understand how I can do better and analyze my own performance.
So that
Yeah.
same moment when my browser goes, you're trying to use a microphone. Which microphone do you, or do you want to allow this? And whatever's queuing that is the same thing that queues work coach. And then it comes in on and records. Is it recording you locally and just your audio video, or does it take the whole meeting? Because you said you want to ask for consent. So is it potentially actually getting what my peers are saying in the call?
Yes. So it records your microphone, so it knows what you say, and then it also takes the audio from
The call.
your system,
Okay.
so it can hear what other people
Which
are
is
saying.
important.
So you get a full transcript of what you said and what other people said. It doesn't join the meeting as a bot. I don't know. Have you guys been in a Zoom meeting or something like that where there's more bots than there are people?
Not more bots, but very close, where everybody has like their own little assistant.
Exactly.
That's joined. Yeah. And more
You're
and more.
sitting there looking
that's
at the
been
Brady
happening in our
Bunch, and it's
environment.
like, all right, human, bot, human, bot. Yeah, I've been in those calls.
Yeah.
But so in
it's-
this case, it's not joining the meeting itself; it's pulling in, which to me makes sense. I use Notion AI transcript, and that's how it does it. It doesn't join meeting; it basically reads my mic and then pulls in my audio. Input,
Exactly. It works
and
very
pulls both
similarly
of
to
those.
Notion,
Okay.
Granola. There's a bunch of
Okay.
these different. There's a million different meeting summarizers and note takers, and they all want to be the one thing that takes your summaries in all your meetings. And there's very few things that are focused on one particular use case.
It's actually one of the hottest AI things because I hate to say this, the easiest. Like, that's not true, but you're focused on voice to text transcription and then whatever your layer is over top of it. And the voice to text transcription's been around pre the modern AI movement. Modern AI and the LLMs are making that more and more effective. But now whatever you're throwing on top of that, like if this is going to evaluate what you're trying to accomplish, that's your AI layer over top. It makes sense. Everybody's trying to do this, but do it better is the thing to do. Now, if this is I don't know if it's a saturated market. It might seem like that to me, but what kind of brought this idea for you together?
Yeah, the thing that's incredible to me is that the transcription isn't always that good. I don't know if you look at the transcript for these meetings, but it's not good. The thing that's incredible about it, these LLMs, is they can take garbage and they can produce a beautiful looking summary. They really understand what's happening. It's incredible. The big light bulb moment for me was that everyone's using AI to just generate a whole bunch of slop, right? They're just like, create a presentation, create a document. Very few people have realized, I think mainstream, have realized that it's really good as a editor, as a reviewer, as a judge, helping you think through things, to not create the doc, but say, tear apart my argument, help me evaluate myself. And so it's gotten really good at that. And so the insight I came to was that it's really good at that. Very few people are focused on that. And all the software that exists out there for business is generally sold to companies. They want to automate people out of jobs. They want you to work more. They want you to produce more documents. They want you to automate all your stuff. Everything is more money, more efficiency, work harder, all this stuff. It's very rare that the software is meant to help people grow. In my experience, in virtually all of the educational products that I've seen, I'm going to leave Reforge out of that because I have a lot of love for Reforge. I think we did a lot of great work there. But like basically every other educational product that I've seen devolves into, especially when it's sold to companies, devolves into, how do we sell to the chief learning and development officer? How do we plug into all your enterprise systems? And how do we just maintain this company buying it year after year? And it becomes less about helping people and more about how do we just not have this company cancel?
Yeah.
And so it's not actually it's not truly to help the person, which just really, really kind of bothered me. And so combining the frustration of trying to help people and it's a really good reviewer of people, I got very inspired to say, how can I help people with some of the things that are most frustrating? I mean, for me, I take my work identity way too seriously. I put a lot of self-worth in that. And it's really, I don't have that many people to talk to. And so it's a really helpful thing, in my opinion, to be able to get coaching, to be able to get feedback on how I'm doing and have tangible things I can work towards.
You've made a
That's super
product
cool.
for me. Like as you're talking that through, I'm just like, oh,
Well,
crap.
I just want to yell like preach it. I'm turning to gospel choir right now in the background. Because I love this mission you've got behind it. Because you're right. I sit in a space of educational technology where I'm evaluating stuff a lot, and I'm not necessarily the person who gets to make all the decisions about stuff, but I get to make a good bit. And you're right. There's so much software that ends up just being about how can I plug into everything that this organization has, and just kind of keep that subscription rolling for a long time and kind of and run it. And especially in AI. I mean, Will and I've seen this a lot in the AI space. It's like I've seen a lot of companies advertising themselves as like we're the next AI thing, but really all they're doing is what GPT does with a nice splash of ed on the name, or something in that space. Which is what intrigues me about this work coach tool, is because you're right. I've experienced this too, where like AI tools can be really good evaluators on things. Like I do a lot of project management, and I really have enjoyed kind of building different agentic project management stuff that can evaluate proposals and plans and poke holes into it or suggest other ideas, or just confirm for me that I was right in what I was planning, and I was like, go team, and nice high five and move on.
It is so good at encouragement.
But your
AI is always like, you've done the best.
Yeah, it's gotten much better at that. Yeah. But so this is really cool. Now, our next question for you is kind of how it stands out. I think you've kind of articulated that a little bit. I want to jump in, I think, I'm gonna fly off the script on the HiTech podcast a little bit.
Always.
My immediate reaction as I hear you talking about this, Dan, is so what have you kind of, without revealing too much probably, what have you built for it to be able to evaluate against like specific things, right? Because like when I'm having AI evaluate either something I'm putting in or myself or whatever, like I'm giving it guidance on what I want it to kind of come at with. Because general AI, to your point, can be really good at evaluating, but if it's just super broad, I can imagine it coming up with a lot of wild things that it's evaluated on. So how have you guys kind of targeted this on the coach side to kind of be focused on developing people?
Sure. So the first thing is you can just set up your own custom instructions like you could in ChatGPT or Claude and say, like the thing I'm working on this year, this quarter, whatever it is I'm working on how I articulate strategic initiatives, or I'm working on managing my manager, or I'm working on motivating a whole bunch of people that or I'm working on managing the different personalities on my team. And so you can steer it in whatever direction you personally want. And on top of that, one of the things I do is I detect what type of meeting it is. And that drastically changes the type of suggestions that it's going to create. If you were to say, how can I do better? It depends what kind of meeting it is. Are you attending an all hands? Are you presenting at the all hands? Are you an interviewer? Are you an interviewee? Are you in a one-on-one? What's the what's the arc of this relationship with your manager? So if you were to just say, hey, Claude, how do I improve on this meeting? It's all about the context you give to it and accelerating that as much as possible. And like, for example, if you're interviewing, I'm gonna say one of the most popular frameworks for presenting an answer is the STAR framework. How well do you leverage the STAR framework? Let's break down each of the steps of it to analyze how you can do better with that. So we do some detection of what we think the type of meeting is, what we think your type of role is in this meeting, who's in the meeting, what your history is with those people, and all that context is going to produce much better recommendations. The other thing is that we'll look across meetings. So it's not just, it's like, hey, we noticed in the 3 interviews you had this week, you asked the exact same questions. You should really be customizing your questions to the company. You should be tailoring your answers to the things that they've said are important for the role. There's all these things that oftentimes it's not rocket science too. It's things that we know we should do, but we're not doing. And so it's helping to hold you accountable for things so it honestly, it's a mix of like, some of it is not rocket science, but also some of it is trying to throw as many tokens at it as possible and really being specific about I'm not trying to market to hundreds of millions of people. I'm trying to make thousands of people really successful in interviewing, onboarding, getting promotion, whatever it is.
Yep. Having them pick a discrete task
That's super cool.
and pursue that discrete task for their purpose. In the context you're saying, like, it could do longitudinal, like you can see meetings over time, whatever. Can I tell it or train it to who? Right. So if Josh and I have meetings all the time, I don't know, we talk at least once a week. Could I have like on my account, can I have it know who Josh is in meetings and keep track of Josh?
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. I just rolled out a feature where it identifies the people in the meeting, and you can say this is a great example. One thing I had to learn was I would oftentimes just think through, what do I think is the most convincing argument for this? And I wouldn't take into consideration the personalities of the people that I was dealing with. Some people need to talk out loud to think through something. Some people, if you put them on the spot, they will hate you. Some people want cold, hard data. Other people they don't want it. They'll even look at numbers. They just want customer anecdotes. And so you can have context about their personality types, what they care about, what sets them off. So you can be reminded, hey, when you showed up and you pitched X or Y, like that was not the right strategy for this person. And so you can have context specific to individuals that's dynamically inserted into the context window when it goes and analyzes a meeting.
I would love to retroactively take recordings from meetings I had years ago. Truly, this is not a recent thing. There was a colleague I had who eventually got fired, but I was really struggling to relate to this person and to try, I tried to kill them with kindness. I did not want to have to deal with the pains that we were experiencing. They were a steamroller. They were a talkoverer. They were, right? There's a lot of things that they actively did that were fairly negative. But I was always bearing a burden of like, how could I reach this person? I wish I could make them see the error of their ways. And just thinking through those meetings, like if Work Coach was there to give tactical advice, maybe even to them, that I could have just shared through like, hey, by the way, I kind of reviewed how we did that last call and maybe you could think about these things. But you know what I mean? That's one of those things that I would have absolutely used Work Coach for, is just to tackle a hard peer. Like we had to work together. We were on projects. We were assigned it. We had it. And I would have done many things to get out of those meetings and to not deal with that person. And eventually I didn't have to, because they lost the job. They were such a hard tack kind of person. They were not collaborative. So I know that's not a solve, but this is one of those things that runs in my head of like, how would I have used this tool to address that problem? I like this opportunity.
So much of work. So I love that point. So much of work is about the people, and there's very few tools that give you insight into your relationships, because it's not always just about the idea. It's how you position it, how you talk about it, how other people are going to receive it, and there's nothing that helps you think that through from a people basis.
Yeah.
And even go ahead, Josh. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's really interesting. It's you're right. Like there's not a lot of tools that give this type of feedback, other than obviously like the people that you're interacting with that you can get feedback from. But like I think what you've interestingly figured out, Dan, is like those people aren't always in all of these meetings that you're in, or these interactions, right? Or even you bring in somebody to give like direct coaching experience that can also cost a lot of money. And I forget if you say this somewhere on your site, because I was looking through your tools and stuff. The like getting feedback too from people can be difficult in different dynamics. Whether you're asking for feedback, like I'm in a situation where I'm leading people, I'm asking for feedback from people that I lead. That's always going to be a complicated dynamic. Even if I'm the nicest person in the world and we have a comfortable relationship, there's still a dynamic where like I I'm your boss, right? And there's a power dynamic. Like they're going to give feedback in a certain way because of that, no matter how good of a boss I am. That's still going to be a dynamic that you're struggling with or dealing with, or like getting feedback from someone above you, is the same way. Like no matter what the dynamic is, you're going to, there's just different ways feedback comes to you, that it's, getting an insight into how you interact in a lot of different relationships can be a difficult dynamic.
The point that I was going to say, that I'm actually glad you went first, Josh, because like something you're leading to there is the interpersonality of work. You like, and Dan, you cued on this already, but like we have to work with people, but we don't always get the best feedback from people. Even people who we've worked with for 5 years, 10 years will not necessarily tell us the truth, or tell us the truth kindly. There's plenty of issues around feedback. So one of the
like I've been lying to Will for years.
That's why we still do the podcast.
Like him, you know
frankly.
what I mean?
But I think about a boss that I had who said to me, you know, hey, I'm not sure about this track of promotion for you because I haven't seen you lead. And it really upset me because they had never been in any of the meetings where I was leading. And they had set me off to do stuff that I was doing very, very autonomously, but they weren't witnessing it. And that's the problem that they were pointing to. Well, I haven't seen it. But something like Work Coach, right? If I started using this for 2 years, I could pull receipts. I could literally pull receipts, be like, look, here's all these meetings that I've tagged as leadership things. You can see the fruits of my labors in one sense. Like I may not be where Work Coach is trying to go, but that's what I'm processing. Like, these are the opportunities we have with a tool like Work Coach that we don't have when we just have meetings all the time. And I love it.
There's two things there. One, there's a feedback epidemic. No one gets enough feedback. Nobody. For all the reasons you said, people are nervous about saying something bad to their boss or to people above them. Your peers, oftentimes you're a competition with your peers.
Yeah.
People above you, they're too busy. Your manager doesn't have time your manager doesn't care about your career as much as you do.
Yeah.
They may have the best of intentions for you, but if you're managing 6 to 10 people, you're also responsible for your own work. And then you need to manage up. Your manager doesn't have enough time to really think deeply about you. Like that's just the honest truth. And so there's just a huge so there's not enough feedback that happens, especially with AI. All these companies are delayering. There's like very little opportunity for networking and mentorship. There's just all these things. There wasn't enough feedback to begin with. Remote work makes it worse. So there's just, don't get me started. I could talk for 30 minutes about how there's not enough feedback. So I have a feature in here that does anonymous 360s. Cool. So like instead of giving feedback twice a year, once a year through a formal review, one of the things people should do is they should own their career. They should be summarizing what they do. They should be articulating their plan. They should be encouraged to say, this is where I think I am. This is what the company's guidelines are. These are the gaps. This is how I'm working to close them. And I'm driving that process and not waiting for my manager to drive it. So that's something that I want Work Coach to do is help you advocate for yourself. So there's so much there on the feedback side, but then to your point about your manager not seeing, like one of the things I had to learn the hard way was I thought if you just put your head down and do good work, good things are going to happen. And that's not true at all. You need to be advocating for yourself all the time, and that's part of one of the things I'm going to be incorporating into Work Coach, which is like you should be using this in your one-on-ones with at some cadence with your manager. How are you advocating for yourself? How are you talking about your accomplishments? They can't be there in the meeting, but then the onus is on you to talk about, here are the challenges, here's the stuff that I've done, and so that when it does come time for review time, you've already given them the ammunition to go make an argument to say this person's ready for the next level.
I like when I like Josh and I do this, Dan, because we love to continue these professional conversations. Well, there's a number of reasons why the podcast started, but we were very regularly talking about work at dinner, and our wives were like, "Stop this! We're at dinner. We want to have dinner." And so we went off and started a podcast, and we've had these conversations. But when you said that a moment ago, you're like, I go on about feedback for 30 minutes. Yeah, let's do it. We'll just do another episode. We will just talk about feedback. You can still be about work coach, but like that's one of the things that we find is so important about this moment with tech. We need this passion. You just express that passion. You're creating a tool as a result of this passion. And so many folks, rightly, I don't think this is a negative, but are so upset with tech right now and anti-AI. And there's a lot of emotions in the tech atmosphere right now. I don't really have a good way to say that. That's the best way that's come to mind. But like this passion for solving problems is what motivates Josh and myself. And so what we can see here is a reflection of that passion coming through, not only you in the conversation, but in the product and what you're trying to accomplish. I think that's a fantastic approach for this. Hey folks, we know you were in the middle of just the best episode of the HiTech podcast ever, but if you like this episode and everything we're producing, make sure to join the HiTech Club. It's a low monthly cost. We're not going to tell you what it is at the moment because who knows, it could change, but it's a low cost, and everything you give to the podcast helps us produce it, whether it's subscription costs or hardware, things that help us make this happen. So you want to be a participant, head over to hitechpod.us. You can get quick and easy access links to our subscription model and join the club, which gives you tons of fun benefits like no more of these ads. Very simple. More of our faces.
Yeah.
Uncut Josh, right? You're going to get all the crazy things he says all the time.
Yeah. You guys should, like the last 5 years, folks, I've been saying a lot of stuff you haven't heard. So if you want to hear it, become a club member and you can hear that. That seems like a win to me. And if you want to dictate what we talk about on the podcast, you can do that as a HiTech Club member.
You'll be able to vote.
You'll be able to vote on topic ideas. So, yeah, make sure to become a club member. I think that'd be super cool.
We'd really appreciate that.
Okay. We're gonna hold you hostage here for a while until you do. No, I'm just joking. On to our regular scheduled conversation, whatever the heck we were talking about. I'm sure it was great.
It was great.
Yeah.
Back to it. We have this idea though of the work, of what it's doing. So it's recording, it's giving us some feedback. You've set this, I think, for us as saying like, hey, it can help you improve for interviews. It can help you improve, a specific task. It can help you improve your one-on-ones. You get this longitudinal. What does your ideal day for a user look like? Are they using this in every meeting? Should it be concentrated or hey, Mazel tov, do it however you want?
It's a good question. I leave it up to the user. Whatever they think is relevant for whatever is important to them. They can always take notes and say, don't worry about X, don't worry about Y in the actual meeting to give it some direction about what's important for that meeting. But I think for anything where you are trying to accomplish something, where you're trying to push something forward and you want a coach in there evaluating you, giving you suggestions. I mean, let me put it back on you. Is there an environment where you don't want suggestions on how you can be better?
I almost said the podcast, but then I'm like, well, but no, we do want to make this better. I say the podcast because like it's our thing. I don't really want outside, but I do. We do this for.
I was gonna say on being healthier with drinking coffee. I don't need feedback on that. I'm good. No, you're right. Like there's not a lot of environments I can think of where I wouldn't want feedback, right? So like this is probably I could see myself using this pretty regularly across most meetings, right? Like because you're gonna want to gather information. Now I could see maybe where like an all hands or something where like I'm literally not saying anything. It's mostly like an update thing, and I'm not supposed to be saying anything. If I did, it would be considered a bad idea. Like that's probably a place I don't necessarily need to flip this on to record just because it's not really going to give me a lot other than saying, hey, you were quiet, good job at not getting screaming at the all hands when they were talking about benefits.
That's too close to home. That's literally my experience. Anyways.
But I don't think now I will say, Dan, my question for you, right, is I'm hearing you describe this, right? The use case, I have a billion use cases for it, right? But I can already hear some of the users I've been engaging with on AI stuff. So I'm curious, the preset stuff, like programming, like understanding who is who in the meetings and the relationships and stuff like that. What does it look like for a user to get that information into to Work Coach? Is that something where there's an interface where they plug all that info in? Is Work Coach asking them questions before meetings? Obviously, you've referenced some that it can kind of, it seems, try to understand what a meeting is based on the context, right? Sometimes titles and stuff I know can give context to these types of tools. But I'm curious, what does that look like for the user?
My goal is to make it so that you don't have that you just attend your meetings and you can kind of nudge it in certain directions, but it is very
Okay.
much reactive to you. So I'm
Okay.
not trying to compete with ChatGPT. I don't want, or Granola, these other tools that
Yeah.
are trying to be like your brain for
Yeah.
everything at work. I, I very much want to observe and then make observations, and then you can correct or nudge in certain directions.
Okay.
So what does that look like? That means uh, when you sign up, you get an email that says, "Hey, I went and did research on you. Here's what I put in for your custom instructions." And it's a little bit about your background and the AI trying to guess as to what's important. And I've been really impressed with people's feedback. They say this is like 9 out of 10 correct.
That's
and,
cool.
And again, from meetings, it's gonna try and understand who people are, what they're based on what the conversations look like, what's important to them, what their role is, and how you interact with them. And so again, it's the kind of thing where it says, okay, we've detected these people you work with. Here's the like brief on those people. You can go in and edit it to adjust anything that isn't correct or add anything that you're like, I really pissed this person off doing X or Y a couple of years ago. Make sure that I don't do that again.
Oops. Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome. No, I love that. I've been using a lot of different agentic AI tools, for instance, and as I'm trying to teach new people how to do stuff, I always see the overwhelming look in their eyes when they're like, "Okay, this is how you write instructions for these types of tools," and they're like, "Oh goodness, I was just hoping it to do the thing for me." And that's why I really like some of the tools who have really moved towards like pre-building those instructions based on some conversations or context. So I think that's super cool. And to your point, especially with being able to access the breadth of our meetings, there's a lot from what I know from engaging with AI that I can anticipate it's probably able to grab pretty quickly based on just an understanding of the different meetings that you're in, and use cases. That's super cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's out. I'm gonna go for it. I didn't want to I was gonna leave this be, but I'm seeing on the website right now it's just on Mac. Am I correct? Are we looking at further development?
It's on Mac today.
Okay. And is that the goal? I know that there's like issues across the different ones. Some are easy to develop for, et cetera. But are you planning to go to the other platforms, or what are you thinking there?
Yes, 100%.
Cool. So we're gonna have the access to it because I'm a Microsoft and Android guy. I'm not a big fan of the big companies, anyways. I would love to get off of both of those, but in the meantime, it's where I am. So hoping to get a shot at this in the future. Now, what's the goal? What's a way could people sign up for 30 days? Is there free to start? How does that work out to get people into it?
It's free to start.
Cool.
I'm currently working on rolling out a paid tier, but it's free to start right now.
Get on it, folks.
Okay.
Start to use it right away.
Yeah. Get it early while you can.
Exactly.
What's
super
coming
cool.
up next with it? So you've got it, it's working. You're getting this feedback from folks that's saying, it's nailing things 9 out of 10 times for like the signups and getting information on folks. You need to get this next big hurdle before you get to the paid tier, or what are you expecting?
Yeah. So the general flow of record a meeting and then get suggestions is working great. I'm making it much more specific for a bunch of different use cases. So one I just released is jobs. So you can go in and put in a job description. It's going to then analyze your background against that job and generate a fit of where you're a strong fit and maybe where you're a weak fit. On top of that, it then says, let's go role play some scenarios. And then you can have a voice conversation with an AI to practice hypothetical questions. And then it's going to do the same thing it does for a meeting, but just for that practice session.
Okay.
So, everyone's faced the question, tell me about yourself in a job interview. And me, like everyone else, has flubbed that question. And you spend a couple of minutes, lots of ahs and ums, meandering. It's going to say, hey, you spent 4 minutes and it was winding road. You really just had 1 minute, give it to me. Really short and concise. Be really clear. Exactly. Tighten it up.
Okay.
And
I want to give this to coworkers, so not just even for myself. Can I? Is that passive aggressive to be like, here's work coach?
Yeah, it's like that Chappelle skit of like wrap it up. You got to send them the like wrap it up thing. Anyways, that's like one area that I really want to make it excellent for people applying for jobs. On the other side, once you have the job, I really want to have much better memory around the things like, this is your manager. This is the thing that was said in your performance review. What are you doing about it now, 9 months before your annual review, so that once the 9 months come up, you can say, we've been chatting about this for 9 months. These are all the things that you said were gaps. I've demonstrated that. I've gotten feedback. We've talked about it. We've reinforced it. I've served it up to you on a silver platter. So these are the types of flows that I want to be able to enable, both applying for a job as well as once you have the job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That sparked for me immediate use case. So you need to get on Windows as soon as possible for me. Because I could see this being really helpful even from a manager standpoint of implementing in like a 90-day onboarding with someone, right? Like having them use this as an active tool during their 90-day onboarding to just kind of like to very ahead of time be like, this is for coaching purposes. We're not trying to monitor you type of vibe. But like I could see this being super helpful because, right, like you said, I'm in a case right now where I'm serving in an interim role in some ways, so this makes it more complicated. But I'm managing 9 different people right now, and like you were commenting earlier, like I care about my team, but yes, I also have to care about my own work. I have to lead up to the people I'm leading under and try to make sure that I'm communicating strategy and stuff well in that space, and then I'm also supposed to be developing all 9 of these people, right? Like it can be a difficult dynamic to manage. And so I could see this being really advantageous in that space where like it's a helpful tool in those different flows of where you're consistently growing, whether it's getting the job, onboarding to the job, and then developing beyond that onboarding and what those next stages look like. So that's super cool.
Yeah.
Dan, you're the sorry, if you want to say something, Dan, go for it.
I've one of my power users is a marketing exec, and she said it's been really helpful. I have my own things that I know I'm working on with my team. I'm trying to not solve things for them. I'm trying to enable them to come with solutions. I want to help them develop that muscle. So it's been really helpful. These are her words, from a managerial perspective of helping me develop them. But then also I've talked with some managers who said, I don't want to coach my people. There's some managers who think that way, and and they want their direct report to handle it themselves. And so the best thing you could do, like let's also be honest, like on average, not a lot of people have below average managers, like literally by the law of numbers, right? And so the best thing you could do for someone is give them the tools to advocate for themselves so they can own their career, right? And so that's one of the things I feel strongly about is like companies should want people to do this. They should want people to be the captain of their own career and not wait for their manager to do it for them.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's in my time and careers. I mean, that's why I've gotten to where I've been able to get to is like I've had to push for that, and I've had above average managers. I mean, Will and I know my past supervisor. He was definitely above average and helped me in that space. But I also had to push for things because he was ignoring me. It's the reality. He has a job to do, right? And so I had to push for things. So you're right. Like we should want to empower people in this way. Dan, this is great. I love this a lot. And definitely encourage people to check it out. Now, Dan, I'm gonna throw you one final question here, okay? And because I want to address maybe what I see as for context. Dan, I serve on a AI task force in education, so I have to I'm the project manager and co-lead on the task force. So I have to basically, after that got announced, my email became everything from hey Josh, did you read this thing on AI? Or I have this thought on AI. Here, would you like to see this? So I've seen a lot of different perspectives on AI, and I could already hear my beloved curmudgeons who are going to look at this and go, like, a robot can't give me feedback on how to interact with people, and how to do that. So Dan, I'm curious, how do you respond to that feedback, or that maybe curmudgeon-y vibe, I'll call it, that ends up happening? Because I obviously don't believe that's true, but I'm curious how you respond to that as somebody like you're passionate about supporting and growing people How would you respond to that kind of maybe thing they're working through, having a robot tell them feedback on how to interact with people?
Yeah, I would. Those people haven't tried it yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is blows me away. It's not perfect. It's not 100% correct, but like it's way better than the alternative of not getting any feedback. And so I've been blown away by the quality of the recommendations. Like they're not 100%, but like who else is going to give you this feedback? Nobody. Or like um let's say you're going to do a role, you're interviewing for a job and you're going to role play with a friend or with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your spouse, whoever it is. They're not going to give you the tough love you need to hear. They don't have the context. Yeah. And at work, you can ask a friend, they don't have the context. You can ask a manager, they're going to be too nice
or too busy.
So I just, you know, it's not for everyone. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. But like, it just seems insane to me that we're all walking around just YOLOing it. Just like, well, I hope I did okay. I hope, right? Like
nailed it.
It just, like now that I can't unsee the fact that everyone's just faking it in every meeting. They're just doing their best, faking it in every meeting. And they're like, I'm good. That was perfect. I don't need any feedback.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Kudos to you.
Yes.
Kudos to you if you don't need any feedback.
Yes. And I would actually relate this because this question's phenomenal, Josh. Thank you. I would relate this to therapy. And follow me here for a second, right? I've been through probably 3 seasons of therapy in my life. One was after my dad passed, so it was a lot of grief therapy. One was when my wife and I were going through, just natural relationship development stuff, and we wanted to work on it together. And then one was when I started going through some work stuff recently, and in each of those contexts, I went through. Maybe in all my time, I've done 100 hours of therapy at this stage in my life. I'd say that 25 of those hours stand out. 75 of those hours may or may not have had a significant impact on my life, have helped me with the grief, my relationship with work, right? But I still went and I put every dollar, every hour into that effort to improve myself, to work through my emotions, to process my real life. Would I ever throw therapy out because maybe sometimes it didn't hit? Maybe not every question the therapist asked me was perfect. Maybes, right? I think that some of the attitudes somebody might bring this, well, AI, how's it going to, it's not going to tell me everything I need to know. Neither does a therapist. Nothing, no feedback input is perfect. And if you get a message, let's just say round numbers with 100 words, you might resonate with 13 of those words. And you might action 6 of those words, right? Like we all know that even if you were getting the feedback doesn't mean you're going to take action or develop your behaviors as a result of it. So folks who might respond this way to the way that Josh said about work coach, I know that they're the same people who are like, therapy's not for me. Therapy's not for me. That's what I'm getting around to here. I know plenty of folks. It's like, hey, that's okay. Maybe it's not. But on the other side of it is you're not taking the chance to get that feedback from a therapist, from someone who's trained, right, in that kind of support. So AI is going to be trained directly in the task you're trying to accomplish. It's actually more effective, maybe, than a generalist. A human is a generalist. They're coming with expert knowledge of psychology, of emotions, of trauma, etc., as a counselor, as a therapist might. But that's a generalist sitting there saying, okay, I'm hoping I can help Will. Your work coach is going to be trained to help me get the interviews better. Is going to be trained to help me not use us, ums, and like as much, right? Reduce the filler words. Whatever the task is I'm trying to accomplish, your tool is going to be trained or growing with me to improve those behaviors as I do them. So I don't want to also say it's better than a therapist, because I think therapists are beautiful and amazing people that do wonderful work for folks. But I definitely think it's going to be more tactical in the work that you're trying to accomplish. So hopefully folks hear that message to say, it's worth it. Any feedback you can get from anything is good, especially if it helps you action change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love the response of they haven't tried it. Which is, it's true. Like because that's why I'm convinced immediately as you're talking about this, Dan, that it could work. Because I've used AI to get feedback on things and realize, yeah, not all of it's perfect, right? Or it misses context or it's doing some things, but like it's amazing at some of the things that it can highlight and focus on that people just miss when you've got something that's running off of the entirety of the web of human experience. You're gonna get some wild stuff, but it's also got, if it's targeted towards something, it is pulling from human experience to give that feedback. It's doing it, and like you said, in a much more blunt way than some of our managers might, or our friends definitely would, because I've had plenty of plays that I pretend that I loved. Like work coach can be a little bit more blunt. So I love that, right? Like the point of being like, listen, this can be another tool in our toolbox for getting feedback and growing. And I agree with you. I wouldn't have necessarily originally thought of it as like an epidemic or missing this area, but you're right. There's so much, so many of us in the workforce. So we're just kind of like, I love the YOLO. We're hoping it goes well, and we leave a meeting. We're like, well, nobody was outwardly mad, so I guess I nailed it. And this tool is great because it's as somebody who is looked for feedback, and I've gotten it from some people, and then other people I get that weird look of like, why are you asking me these questions? I don't have time for this right now. I think this tool is great. So I encourage everybody listening, please go check out Work Coach at work.coach, which by the way, nailed the URL, Dan. Solid work. So please go check it out, work.coach, jump on it, and check out this tool, because I agree. This is like a nice cup of water in a desert of non-existent feedback.
We're
right
gonna
now.
need a
Dan,
lot
so
more
seriously,
than
thank
just
you
a-
for this. This is
We're gonna
super
need a lot
cool.
more than just a cup.
For sure. Well, Dan, thank you for joining us, man. Seriously, this was awesome. I love this. And hope to hear more from you, and definitely we'll be watching Work Coach. And those of you who want to check it out, we will also link to Work Coach as well on our webpage, so make sure you check that out as well. And yeah, folks, Dan, thank you for joining us. Seriously, man, this was great.
Thanks for having me. This was really fun.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
of course. I don't know that I've ever been more in love out of an interview than that. That was Dan. He's a really great guy, but like I want this tool. I'm so excited about this thing. This thing is so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, this is great. Well, and I'd give us I'd give Dan two more encouragements. One, we actually felt like we needed to stop the episode because we're going too long. That was a
we were
Josh
gonna
and
run
I
forever,
decision.
yeah.
But beyond that, we got off the call and kept talking to Dan more, and we're trying to like give him ideas and process that. Like, we're all in on the idea and the philosophy. We love to see it on Microsoft. Waiting on you, Dan. That'll be exciting. But nonetheless, in the meantime, folks can get started for free on Mac. That's fantastic. If you've got it, get started. And actually, I know exactly who I'm going to tell about this as soon as we're off this recording.
I got a couple people to throw this
because
to.
I know some Mac users who would jump on this. So it's fantastic.
No, I will say, as somebody who has been both in positions of like not managing small teams, even now managing more people and leading, it's guys, those listening to this podcast, take this to heart, because I think different people recognize this or not, but Dan really leaned into this. You have to take ownership of your own career, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people who end up in situations and they think, yeah, if I just work hard enough, like things will work out. That's not the case. Like, for all the reasons Dan articulated in this episode, it's just not the case. That's not reality. And so you need every tool in your toolbox. And I can tell you from experience, like, I had really good managers for a while, and it's been really easy to get feedback. And I still do. Like, it's not that it's not easy to get feedback, right? But it can be hard, especially as you start to move up and you're under people who are genuinely busy because they have the responsibility of the organization on their shoulders, right? And so you have to start taking ownership more for yourself of how you grow and you get feedback. And I think Dan's tool here, Work Coach, is an excellent resource for that. So again, we will link to all of that stuff, but please go check this out. I think this is a fabulous use case for AI, and is just a really powerful tool.
And Dan will absolutely have you back. Thank you for that. Folks, if you want to follow the podcast, you want to subscribe, like, do all those good things, follow us at the HiTech Podcast or at HiTech Pod. We appreciate that. You can like, subscribe, share, comment, retweet, repost, It helps the podcast reach more folks like Dan, get them on the podcast so we can highlight good ideas, good people that are out there. Head over to the website, hitechpod.us, for this episode page and all of our episode pages so you can share that to other folks who might benefit from the podcast. And last but not least, email us, inbox@hitechpod.us, so you can come on the podcast like Dan did, or You want to question us, ask for more information, you need some help, just reach out, inbox@hitechpod.us. Until next time, that's a wrap on this week of the HiTech Podcast. We will continue empowering minds.
Embracing tech.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome